Well, I thought it would be fun to give you a little update on the things that I have been writing lately. So let's do that. Welcome to Allie on Life, where I believe that every life is a beautiful story, and I want to help you tell yours. Well, as you know, I hope, I am a writer. And writers, as I always say, write. So what have I been writing lately? Well, I will love to tell you. But first, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do that. And don't forget that I have a free resource guide for writers that helps you sift through ideas and figure out what to write. Well, it is very important to me as I build my writing business and work on putting out these products that are supposed to help writers along their writing journey to be on my own writing journey as well. Because I can't help people do something that I'm not doing, right? I'm a self-published author, but I'm not a big successful published author. And so in order to continue to hone my own craft and learn different things, I need to keep writing. Also, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and it's what I do, and there are reasons why it's what I do. It's because it's a passion in my life. So what am I writing lately? The three main things that I am writing just about every day are my verse of the day post on Instagram. I'm working on some sales pieces and email sequences. Very, very exciting stuff. And most of all, my novel. Yes, of course I'm writing a novel. Why wouldn't I be, right? So I have been writing this novel for a long time. Most of my life. This one novel. No, that's not actually true. But there have been bits and pieces of this story that I've, thought of since I was, pretty young. And I've been playing with different ways to kind of incorporate it. And I think I have finally come upon a way that I can write this story and get it out in a way that is meaningful to people. So I'm really excited about that. And I just kind of want to walk through the process a little bit of how I got to the point that I am right now. So let's see. It's been a long time, like I said, that I've had this, it's a fantasy world novel that I have in process. And I wrote the whole thing one time and then I decided it wasn't readable. And so I've kind of been trying to rewrite it ever since. I love my characters. I've got a really nice group of characters that are pretty well developed. And when people read the stories, they, usually comment that they love the characters. And that's great because I love the characters. They're like real people to me at this point. So it's really nice to know that other people appreciate them and enjoy them as well. Now, my struggle has always been that these wonderful characters in this fantastic world just didn't really have anything to do. I mean, I have some great things that they're going to do, but I'm like, of course I want to write a whole series. So I don't want to necessarily get to the huge things that they're going to do right in this first book. There's, a couple things that they need to figure out first as they go along their little lives and get interrupted by, big world event. The setting I had to figure out. I've changed my audience a couple of times, which, I don't recommend doing, but you can do it. It's possible. I've gone back and forth from first person to third person, I think, in this novel. Maybe it's always been third person, but I've kind of changed perspectives a couple times. I've brought in more than one point of view character. I wrote the whole thing once from just one point of view. I've done scenes from other points of view, and I finally decided that this time I'm doing 2 points of view. This is a middle grade fantasy. So if you're not familiar with like genres and how they work, middle grade is technically probably 4th grade through about 8th grade. The middle grades, yeah, that's why it's called that. And this is a little bit on the older end of middle grade. So my characters are 13, 14, somewhere in there. It's not old enough to be young adult, so it's still middle grade. I have been struggling for several years with how to create this plot that I wanted to create for the first book in this series. And I went to the Rhubarb Writing Academy a couple years ago. I think there's actually some openings for that this year, so I will post the link in the description. If that's something that you're interested in, you can check it out. And it was so great. And one of the things that I got to do was sit down across from this amazing writer, James L. Rhubarb, who is, the person who teaches the Writing Academy. And we just kind of talked through some things. And I said I was having some problems with my plot. And so he asked me, what's going on with that. And we just kind of had the conversation for a little while. And he said, you need the Snowflake Method. I said, great. What's the Snowflake Method? So he introduced me to Randy Ingermanson's Snowflake Method, which is a a way of constructing your novel along like a snowflake. So you start with like a little basic snowflake, and then you kind of build the details onto it like that. That's the basic idea of the picture. I have done some structure outlining different kinds of things in the past, but I thought I'd give this one a try and see how it goes. It's really interesting because it takes you through a process of like a little bit of character development and a little bit of plot, and a little bit more character development and arc, and then a little bit more plot and how that all fits in together. And then some more on the characters and some more on the story, and it just gets to be bigger, and you start to see more detail and more of what's going on in the story. So by the time that you're done with the whole exercise, it's like, 10 steps or something like that. You actually have most of your story written. You just don't have the book written. Now, I love to plan and I love to write. There are lots of people who will go in without a plan and just have sort of a general idea of what they're doing and come up with a great book, and that's totally cool. There are some people who go in basically with a book already written and then write the book. I don't really understand how that works, but people do it. They have like 150-page outlines for a 300 or 400-page book, which, yeah, I don't have time for that. So the Snowflake Method, it's a little bit faster way to get through all that, although it probably took me about a year. I'm a slow writer. I'm a slow plotter. I have a lot going on in my life, and I would get a lot more done if I had a lot more time to just focus on writing, but I don't. So I do it when I can, and it just ends up taking a while. And that's kind of okay, because those things can kind of percolate, and I can think about character development, as I go through my regular life, and just come up with little ideas and add them in there as I go along. And it might not be the most efficient way of writing, but it's what's working for me right now. So once I went through the whole Snowflake Method, then it was time to write. And I was really excited because I finally feel like I have a good plot for this story. I have an audience. I know who I'm writing to. I have a girl character and a boy character, and I love both of them very dearly. And they both have sort of different, but also the same things that they're dealing with. They come from different backgrounds. They have different abilities. It's pretty fun. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And I got started probably about this time last year. I think I really started with the writing, and then I did a decent chunk of it during National Novel Writing Month last year, and I've been working on it since then. I try to do it early in the morning. That's usually my best writing time. It just kind of depends on how things are going on any given day or any given week, whether I get up early enough to get that writing time done, and whether I have any other pockets of time during the week that I can work on it. But I am over 20,000 words now, which feels like a decent chunk of the book. It's probably a quarter of the way through, I'm thinking, and I'm having a good relationship with my characters. They have good relationships with each other. There's kind of a fun tournament, Olympics kind of thing that's happening, and I'm getting ready to kind of blow all that up and have some exciting things happen. So that is where I am at the point in my novel. If you're interested in, maybe a little bit more information about that, you can grab my writing guide and subscribe to my email list, because I will be sending out email updates about that, and you may occasionally get little bits and pieces of the story as I'm writing it. Well, I would love to hear from you. What are you writing? Please tell me, what are your projects that you're working on right now? If you have stories that you're writing, I would love to hear about it. And if there's anything that I can do to help you with those, if there's places that you're stuck or questions that you have, just either put those in the comments, or you can email me, Allie at letsbewriters.com. letsbewriters.com/what-to-write-PDF is where you will also find that free guide for writers, and where you can subscribe to my email. You subscribe to my email and you get the guide for free. I don't know whether you want the guide more or the email more. They're both great because they're both me. And we all want more of me in our lives, don't we? Yes, we do. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I just want you to go out there and tell your story, whatever it is, because someone needs to hear it.